Welcome to the live stream, everyone. We've got a bit of a different audio setup this time. Maybe I'll give you guys a quick tour of what's going on. And I've also repositioned the camera, and we're using a different camera. And I know that we do things differently every week, and a lot of you are probably thinking, Linus, are you freaking insane? Why don't you just do the same thing every week so that you don't have these problems? To which I would reply, good idea. That is an excellent, most excellent suggestion, and I should probably get right on that. I have made one super awesome addition, and that is that I'll be sitting up here with a laptop so that I can look at notes, and I've created a bit of an agenda for myself, which hopefully at some point I'll get around to actually sharing with Slick before we start, so that he has the advantage of knowing what we're going to talk about as well. But maybe it'll be more fun to just blindside him. So we're going to open up with some Twitter chat. Actually, what we're going to open up with is me making sure that this is actually public. Oh, look at that. It didn't accept my my naming for my YouTube thing. I love that. That's my favorite thing. You know what? When YouTube doesn't take... Let's have a bit of a discussion on how YouTube just ignores the user's instructions on uploads sometimes. Some of you might have noticed that one of my Titan videos went up a little bit on the early side. It went up about 45 minutes early or something like that, and it was my 1600p performance review, and I stand by naming it 1600p, even though that's not necessarily sort of what everyone calls it. So it's 2560 by 1600, which I've been informed by Diesel I should be calling 2.5K, but whatever. Anyway, the point is it's a greater than HD resolution test, and I think it had something along the lines of 300 comments on it or something ridiculous like that before I realized what had happened, and I pulled it down. So so that was as a result of YouTube not, for whatever reason, gathering that I wanted to set that video to private, which has happened a number of times in the past. So this I'm actually correcting. Here we go. I'm correcting one of my videos right now, which is announcing the live stream, and it just completely ignored me when I put in a bunch of sort of interesting things that I wanted to say about what video this is, and apparently there are 0 viewers. So I better check that I'm actually even live, because that would be even more clever at this point in time. Let's check the Twitch chat. Oops, let's open Firefox randomly. Turn up the mic gain slightly out of focus. Sound is dead. Oh, people are saying I am indeed live though. Okay, sound is not half bad. Live but poor quality. Okay. Well, all I can really do to fix the focus would be to sort of put something where my head's going to... Because Slick's going to be joining me in a minute. I think he's just grabbing some food, and bad focus. Yeah, I know the focus. Okay, you know what? I'll try and fix the focus on my own. The audio is different this week. Actually, you can probably barely hear me right now because... see this? Check it out. We got ourselves... Hold on, let me see if I can get that in focus. Let me see if I can get that zoom. So we got ourselves a C-stand. There it is. C-stand. Got like a rugged base going on there. So we got a C-stand holding a boom pole. And then we are using our shotgun mic. And while I'm over here, I might as well bump the ISO a little bit since we're fixing things anywho. Oops. That's probably a touch bright, but whatever. Anyway, so there's our mic that we usually position on the camera itself. So now that's not going to be positioned on the camera. So I'm going to see if I can get this focused just right. So that's behind me. That looks like the chair. That looks like... Why don't we go with the chair? So the craft is in focus. That looks like the chair. Okay, yeah, there we go. Let's go with that. I'll lock this off. And I'm going to hope that all of that is all good. People are saying they can't hear. No need to point where the camera doesn't go. Lighting much better. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit better for you guys. It looks like the frame rate's going to chop a little bit, but we're still having trouble with the Blackmagic Intensity Pro card. I think it might be related to the AMD motherboard CPU combo that we swapped out for in our streaming rig. Sometimes, in spite of PCI Express being a standard and therefore standardized, Someone says if you're going to talk about PS4, please keep it short. I actually was planning to keep that very, very short. Neither Slick nor I are console guys. The most recently released console... Okay, I own an Xbox 360 and a PS3, to be clear. I do own them. The PS3 has been plugged in once and used once, and the Xbox 360 has been plugged in once and has been used once. So the most recent generation console that I've actually used is a PS2, and then the most recent generation console that I've actually used extensively that I own is actually a Super Nintendo. So yeah, there you go. What was I saying? Yeah, right. So because PCI Express is a standard doesn't necessarily mean that everything works perfectly interoperably with everything else. There's actually a lot of testing that goes on, particularly at the motherboard manufacturer level and the hardware manufacturer level as well, although more on that in a moment, to make sure that components will actually work, especially more exotic components like RAID cards, high-end NIC cards, capture cards, things like that, where these are bandwidth-intensive devices, but not something that your everyday average consumer is actually going to be using. So more on the testing. I actually had a really interesting conversation with JJ from ASUS while we were at CES that I haven't briefed you guys on yet, and that was about the amount of testing that ASUS has to do on their motherboards in order to have their customers have a satisfying experience. So, okay, are people complaining about the sound still? Okay, I will turn it up a touch, but I really, check. I really didn't think it was that low, but it actually might be now that I'm looking at it. Okay, hold on. Let me get that fixed. All right, how we doing now? Is that better, you guys? Hopefully that's a little bit better. So that should be loud now. How's the echo though? I'm actually really curious because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did actually put a bunch of random foam all over the walls and ceiling in order to hopefully reduce the echo in here a little bit. And having the sound a little bit, or having the microphone a little bit closer. It's actually right here. I'm touching it now. So that's where the microphone is now. I think that should help reduce the echo as well. We're trying to gradually improve the production values of this operation overall, but it's taking time. I don't know if you guys saw it. Oh, okay, sorry, I got distracted. So anyway, I'm a little bit sort of worried that our AMD platform we're running right now is not compatible with our capture cards. It just doesn't work quite right. They're very high bandwidth devices, very finicky devices. And this brings me to ASUS's conversation where they basically, JJ was kind of venting that a lot of the responsibility for this compatibility seems to fall on the motherboard guys, even though 99.9% of the time, okay, not 99.9, but most of the time, they're not actually the ones who are responsible for the device not freaking working. Most of the time, it's actually the designer of whatever card it happens to be, and I'm holding up a graphics card, but this is kind of a bad example because AMD and NVIDIA are extremely diligent about their PCI Express compatibility, which isn't to say there haven't been mix-ups in the past, but these manufacturers are sometimes smaller manufacturers who can't afford even to completely redesign a PCB and chip and all the engineering that goes into that to make it compatible with even more than 80% of motherboards out there. So I think there might be an issue with that. I think we're going to have to change that platform. I'm probably going to move over to this guy right here. So this is a very high-end board from a few generations back. This is a P7P55DE Premium, so super high-end board from a few generations ago. We didn't want to put it in the test bench just yet though, because we have a really interesting video coming out where we're going to be comparing the 8350, the 3770, the 3930K, and an 875K, so a little bit of an older platform, to find out how much of a difference there is on the world's fastest single GPU card, so that is the GTX Titan, with all of these different platforms. Are people using an older system going to have an okay experience? What about people using newer systems of various kinds? So that's going to be kind of awesome. Someone's saying don't blame AMD, it works just fine. It might not be AMD's fault. I just said AMD platform, so it could be something to do with ASUS's implementation on that board. It could be something to do with Blackmagic being the ones who screwed something up, or AverMedia. I don't know what the problem is. What I said is the cards aren't working on that particular AMD platform. In fact, they weren't working. I said the same thing before when... Oh, mute your own stream. Hold on, is it on? Oh, you know what you guys can... It's because of the directionality of the shotgun mic. I have headphones right here that I use to monitor. And you probably can't hear them now. I chucked them away a little bit. So it's probably because the directionality of the shotgun mic is so... it looks like you got... Okay, we'll talk about this after. Someone figures that I got paid to make Titan videos. Yeah, we'll definitely cover this, and that's totally not true and absolutely ridiculous. So, hold on. Moving right along. Anyway, directionality, shotgun mic, headphones, problem. So, Titan, did I get paid? Adding that as a discussion topic, since apparently people do want to talk about that. I also had a lot of questions about why I didn't compare Titan to 690. There's a lot of conspiracy theorists thinking that I don't want to compare Titan to 690. Actually, I've asked NVIDIA for a 690 probably a dozen times in the last 6 months. I didn't get one, or I should say probably about 10 months now. I didn't get one because there was a mandatory briefing that you had to attend to get a GTX 690 when it launched. I missed that mandatory briefing because I was literally in an operating room where my wife was getting was undergoing a cesarean section for the delivery of my baby. So I missed that briefing, and since then, they actually haven't, like, they don't really just randomly sample GPUs. You either get one at launch or you don't get one. So I asked several times again before Titan came out to get my hands on a 690 so that I could do comparative testing, did not get one. So that is why I didn't test it. Not because anyone didn't want you to see the numbers or anything like that. I did do one video with a 690. I borrowed one. I had it for like 2 days, and that was it. And then I had to return it, and that was so that I could do that that video I did on triple GTX 670 or 660 Ti, something like that, versus 690 to see what was actually a better value. So let's do some Twitter questions for a little bit. I'm just gonna find my thing here. Someone says 690 is more important than baby. No, it was definitely more important to do the whole baby thing. All right, on to Twitter. Frank Siriani says best NAS solution for $400 or less. Actually, you have a lot of options for a NAS for $400 or less. You know what I'd probably do is I'd probably get my hands on an old, okay, for $400, yeah, you can do a lot of different stuff. I would either go with something like a Synology, which is a very robust NAS solution. Actually, I think I have one over here. Yeah, here we go. So for that kind of coin, you can get yourself something like this disk station. It's a little more than 400, I think, but it's extremely robust, so the performance is outstanding. One of the things about cheap NASs is that a NAS, or network attached storage, for those of you guys who don't know, but a NAS is often sort of priced according to how many drives it accepts and what levels of RAID it supports and all of the features that it has, although a lot of the time, especially cheaper NASs, those features don't necessarily work. And you can put as many drives as you want in it, but it's so slow that it's unbearable anyway. I remember there was a really popular D-Link NAS, this must have been 3-4 years ago, DNS 323. That one was super popular, but it could only do 15 to 25 megabytes per second. Actually, I think it was less than 25, like 15 to 22 megabytes per second reads and writes. And I'm just like, okay, so it's got a gigabit port on it, but who cares? Because it can only do a fifth of what gigabit is actually capable of. So high performance NASs, like this one, break away from that because they have the actual processing power on board to take advantage of the gigabit network connections they have, and they have very robust firmwares for things like torrenting directly to the NAS without even having a client installed on your PC, things like rebuilding the array on the fly and just remote access and built-in web servers and all that kind of cool stuff. The other option you have for a budget like that is getting your hands on an older, honestly, it doesn't have to be anything special, like an old crappy computer. As long as it has quite a few PCI Express slots, buy some cheap SATA controller cards, and then run something like, just run some kind of like a Linux NAS operating system, or even get your hands on a copy of Windows Home Server 2011 or 12 or whatever it is. And something like that's an option as well, because when you have a PC, it's as customizable as you could possibly want. There are so many apps you can run on it. That is to say that apps are applications and no more, no less. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. And so people are asking where Slick is, and I'm sort of wondering the same thing. So I'm going to go holler and see if he's done eating because I've been entertaining the audience without him for a while here. So give me like one moment and I'll be back. Okay, I have located Slick, and for that one viewer who comments on every live stream that the show would be better without Slick, I'm sorry, he has not actually been taken off the show. He is very much still going to be joining us on the show, but you definitely do amuse me. Not him so much, but you definitely do amuse me with your weekly comment and suggestion that he should be kicked off. So. You know what? I haven't actually done enough looking into Chromebook Pixel to talk about it this week, but there are some other things that we can talk about. You know what? I'm actually gonna here. Let me just mute my my headphones there so that you guys definitely can't hear it anymore. Sorry about that. All right. No, Slick is showing up. Don't worry, you guys. He's coming. He's coming eventually. Hey Linus, check out this eGPU solution running through Thunderbolt GTX 670. You know what? Okay, yeah, I don't need to check the link because I'm pretty familiar with it. So there's actually, we had a Magma Express Box 3T, which is more of an official Thunderbolt to PCI Express bridge solution. So you've got Thunderbolt and then a box that has PCI Express slots in it. But it should be mentioned that even though that didn't work because of the lack of official driver support from AMD and NVIDIA, there are DIY solutions. The only drawback is most of them are limited to, I think it's PCIe 4X Gen 1 or something like that. Might be PCIe 1X Gen 2 or something. Some low bandwidth solution that doesn't really affect performance that much on low-end or mid-range cards, but if you were to try to run a high-end GPU off of it, it might become a bit of an issue. Okay, this is from about 10 minutes ago, someone complaining about the audio. I think I fixed that already. So let's go and have a look at some of the new tweets. Now that we're doing Twitter Q&A, have you heard about Google Fiber opening shop in Ontario? No, but I'm extremely disappointed to hear that because this will do nothing but cement the impression that Torontonians have that they do actually exist at the direct center of the universe. No, I'm just messing with you viewers from Toronto. Although I can't imagine there's that many. It's like 12:30 at night there. But no, that's incredibly exciting. I mean, Google Fiber is one of the things that has me geeking out because it's not necessarily just about the gigabit up and down connection speeds, but about the latencies that or lack thereof that fiber will deliver, which enables technologies such as cloud gaming and welcome. I'm glad you decided to show up.
Google Fiber is looking for engineers in Ontario.
Yeah, that was actually a thing that you probably heard on the way in. Was that your one contribution for a live stream topic? Okay.
No, I had
You're not in the frame. Squeeze over.
I had the two things that I brought up in Linked Weekly.
Oh yeah, okay. Why don't we start with one? Okay, you know what? I moved the camera. So now, because you're sitting in front of me, you actually look like a giant. No, I'm just going to move a little bit. Well, I could actually
sit up, and then...
Well, then you'd look even more like a giant. You know what? We're just going to have to deal with giant Slick tonight. So, yeah, don't worry too much about it. Okay, that awkward moment when the host is gone. Don't know what... Well, I went up to go look for you, and I had some success. Is it bad to suddenly unplug your computer? Yes, but no, it won't short out your components. It's mostly bad from a software perspective. Because the components, they get turned off. The power gets cut to them regardless of whether you hold the button, hit the switch on the back of the power supply or unplug it. It's the same thing to the components. They don't care. But if your drive was in the middle of rearranging some critical file somewhere or something, then you're boned.
It's like as if someone's running down a track and then you just randomly put a brick wall in front of them. It's probably just not good.
Is boned a bad word?
I guess.
I don't know. Like, can I say that on the live stream?
I've never taken it that way, but I guess if you actually think about it, yes.
Yeah, like it's pretty rude.
But then no one really actually, like it's mild. Like you can say that. Huh. Yeah, I guess boned is kind of a bad word.
Does it bother you when people say racket and racket? Well, if they say racket and racket, I'll never know the difference. But if they type R-A-C-K-E-T, then they're probably from America. So yeah, they spell it that way there. What do you think I should upgrade to? A 660 Ti, then get another later on? A 680, or wait and get a Titan? Out of those three options, I would go with 660 Ti and then get another later on. Yeah, I mean, that's the best value. Although, yeah. I mean, you know, if you want to be like one of the cool kids and have a Titan, then you could get a Titan. But unless it's for bragging rights, I mean, let's be very clear about what Titan is. Titan is a $1,000 video card.
I think it has some cool features and stuff, but...
Like, it's the kind of thing where, yes, it delivers the best single GPU gaming experience out there. And if you get a couple of them, it delivers hands down the best gaming experience out there. But in terms of what's the point of buying something like this, I think you'd be just as well served buying it to use it as like an impressive belt buckle as putting it in your computer, because it's all about bragging rights. It's not about price to performance. I see a lot of people talking about price to performance ratio of this card. And I mean, maybe NVIDIA's dastardly scheme was to get people talking about what a good price to performance ratio 690 has.
Yeah,
because
or like their other cards in general.
How many comments have you seen on that?
Oh, 690, yeah.
Yeah, 690, sure. 696. Oh, this thing's no good compared to 690. I mean, remember when 690 launched? Everyone was outraged. It cost $1,000.
Although something you and I were talking about earlier that Titan does have going for it is the frames created, like the interval between frames created.
Yes. So frame times,
yeah,
as opposed to frame rates. So you know what? This is probably something that we'll either cover later on the live stream. Versus frame rates, or maybe next week. No, I don't want to restart right now. Stupid Windows. Frame times versus frame rates. And what's the difference? And why are frame times actually in some ways more important? So a more consistent frame time is actually potentially more important than the overall frame rate. So let's move into our first real discussion topic since you've arrived. Titan. Did I get paid to make Titan videos?
No.
Okay. What evidence do we have to support this theory?
We don't have any extra money.
Well, okay, that's one thing. So I'd like to hear your theory as to
why...
We're
still sitting in a garage without a heater on?
Oh, I know what happened.
You're trying to type stuff in.
Yeah, I'm trying to type stuff. Sorry, we're back. So yeah, okay, so there's the fact that we don't have any extra money.
A previous launch of this graphics card that you're typing in that they can't see, we released a ton of videos for as well.
Yes, we did. So I get accused all the time, and actually it's gotten to the point where it's not actually that funny anymore. But I get accused all the time of being some kind of NVIDIA, leave this page, fanboy or shill or whatever else you guys want to sort of call it. But let's go ahead and look at the straight facts. This is my launch coverage for the Radeon HD 6870. This was a big important launch for AMD, and one of the things that was a little bit different about it than other AMD launches is I got a card before launch, so I had time to prepare a whole bunch of content. So the advantage of having a card before launch is that I can release my videos at the time of the launch when it's actually relevant. If I get a card a week or 2 weeks after launch, like I did with 7970, what am I going to do? Release 10 videos about it when no one cares anymore and everyone who cares has already read a review or already watched someone else's unboxing or someone else's whatever thing? So that's the reality of it. you know, could you consider something like a GTX 690 or a Titan or whatever? Could you consider that getting paid? Yeah, we keep the card. I mean, this card, this Titan, is not going anywhere. It stays in our stable of cards that we are going to be able to continue to benchmark against future cards. Could you consider that a payment of sorts? I guess. But if
Considering we don't get to use it because it has to sit and wait for more benchmarks to be ran.
Yeah, it's not like we get to like sell it. So I mean, and here, if we actually factor, how many man hours do you think you and I put into the Titan content?
I almost don't even want to. Okay, so we sat down.
You're a little close to the mic. Right there's good.
Sorry.
Actually, here, if you want to scooch back a little bit. There you go.
We sat down before Titan was released and planned the videos that were going to come out. And the previous live stream, we were like, yeah, it's coming on Saturday. Didn't come until Monday. So we had like what videos we wanted to release and just kind of like grinned. Just was like,
yay!
Okay, we have like 2 days to get all of this done.
So between the two of us, I think we pulled 3 all-nighters. Because you pulled 2 and I did 1.
Okay, so this whole week is just kind of one gigantic like blob of not
Is it
really
safe
sleeping.
to say between the two of us it was probably a good 60 hours just to get Titan out there?
I think I almost pulled 60 hours.
Okay, so let's say it was a lot more than 60 hours. So if you went, okay, yeah, well, NVIDIA's paying off Linus to release a bunch of videos about the Titan, riddle me this. Would I not be better off then to just go flip burgers on weekends and buy myself a Titan for $1,000?
We would have made more money doing that than we did from what we made from the Titan release.
So we're bringing Titan content because Titan is important, Titan is topical, it is the world's fastest single GPU card, and if you actually go back and actually look historically at an AMD graphics card that I actually got access to before launch, here is my full tour of the triple TV setup that I did for that, which took freaking forever to coordinate, by the way. Here is my performance review. Here's my noise and temperature testing. Here's my power consumption. Here is showing off a game on 3 46-inch TVs. Here's another game with 46-inch TVs. Here's an unboxing. Here's an installation guide. Here's a sneak peek at the setup. Here's the bare card heatsink removal. Here's the length comparison. Here's another game with it. So hopefully I've made my point. If I get access to the card in a timely fashion that allows me to actually bring the content to you guys on launch day, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to bring you guys the best content I can on launch day. Did I get a big check from NVIDIA? No. Did I get a check from AMD for doing that? Absolutely not. That is not to say that we're not going to have sponsored content at some point in the future, but we're not going to have sponsored content on things where we have to be objective. So something like a video card review, it's never going to be sponsored by NVIDIA or sponsored by EVGA because that's ridiculous.
The Crysis 3 video is released, right?
No, that's not released yet. Did you redo the voiceover?
Nope.
Well, that's why it's not released yet.
Can I talk about it?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we have a sponsored video being released on the channel. It is not soon. It is not...
Probably tonight. Can we do it tonight or no?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the actual benchmarks of the card. It's actually, if you've seen the previous ones, Far Cry 3 and StarCraft
2.
StarCraft 2.
We could do a benchmarking guide for StarCraft 1.
We should.
That would be awesome.
That would be fantastic.
April Fools. It's coming up.
It is, yeah.
Sort
of. So it doesn't have the like card comparison that we do for those games yet. That's coming later, but it does have like our Crysis 3 walkthrough, and it's just like EVGA sponsored and then us doing our Crysis 3 walkthrough. That's all it is. It's not actually a comparison or what we think about anything or anything like that other than Crysis, which isn't applicable and doesn't matter. So
Yep, and I mean, we're comfortable taking sponsorships on things like where we would have been using the product anyway. So for example, if we're comparing an AMD and an NVIDIA graphics card, I have no problem having an Intel sponsored spot because we can just say, look, we're using Intel for our test platform, which we were going to do anyway because it's the ideal test platform. However, really interesting. We'll talk. I have this on my topics list. Crysis 3 seems to perform better on AMD CPUs due to how heavily multi-threaded it is. So more discussion on that later. But in general, we use AMD for our Intel for our test platform because it does perform better.
Like Antec or whatever else. Like as long as it's not, as long as it doesn't have anything to do with the benchmarks that we're currently running, It's not really a big deal.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so while we will have sponsored content at times, it's not going to be things like graphics card reviews or anything like that. So we didn't indeed get a check from NVIDIA.
And you'll always know because we'll always have like a pre-roll or an outro or something. Like, we're not hiding stuff.
So this is awesome because I was typing up an email to myself to cover all of the live stream topics that I wanted to cover.
And did Windows restart on you?
And Windows went and installed a bunch of Windows updates on me.
You're running Windows 8, aren't you?
I am running Windows 8.
So you had 2 days to run that restart.
I haven't looked at this computer in 2 days. No, but what happened? Here we go. What happened was it's like which one is it? Where it just says, "Hey, it just brings up a countdown timer. You've got 5 minutes to tell me not to restart." And then, unlike Windows 7, where it gives you the option of delay for an hour, 4 hours, or a day, there is no delay for how long.
You just have that amount of time.
There's like it's inconvenient for the tech-savvy users who will eventually put in their updates. But I think it's probably a good thing for like my mom, who will have 75 Windows updates pending when I go over there. And I'm just like, Ma, these aren't optional. Oh, but it says they're, recommended. I'm like, yeah, recommended means just do it. It doesn't mean don't do it.
Except for Bing.
Well, I don't want to talk about Bing. Is this not working?
You run out of batteries? No?
No, it's working. It's just not switching scenes. That's sort of bizarre. Okay, well, there we go. All right, so Robert Cook asks why we didn't test the Titan with any GPU benchmarks. We focused on the gaming aspect for now. That's not to say that there won't be a follow-up with GPU. I had someone send me one that the Blender one that we were thinking of running. So yeah, it might come, but later. Kevin asks what was the case. It was a Cubitech Mini Cube. What does your wife think of your move to Linus Media Group? Is she supportive, concerned? I'd say a little from column A, a little from column B. What's the cheapest 2 gig 680 you've seen? I saw one for $350. That's a very good price. That's a really good price.
I think we had one for 680. Wow.
Yeah, $350. No, that's really cheap.
Yeah.
I saw a 670 that was under $300, and that was a really good deal. Remember that PNY deal?
Yeah.
We're talking new. I don't know what they're like on the used market. I have one 660 Ti. Would it be preferable to get another as opposed to a Titan? Yeah, probably. Sound is okay? Great. Thank you. Can you put something that likes Ducky keyboard?
No.
And you spelled Ducky wrong, so you're not winning any brownie points over there. Should I get a 3D monitor or get a dual monitor setup? You know what? This is a really interesting discussion topic. That I would love to have if I could move Twitter out of the way, which is not working with my hotkeys now for some reason. You recently upgraded your monitor. Why'd you do what you did? What'd you get?
I got two 24-inch Asus monitors.
ProArt monitors?
ProArt monitors.
You don't give the necessary information. That's like all the information they need. ProArt. So friggin' awesome.
The plan was to have one directly in front of me. And then for like all my main apps, or I'm supposed to be looking there, all my main apps, everything that I'm currently working on, what I'm currently doing. And then on the left was supposed to be like social media and audio. So I have like my 2 different Skypes running, music, Xfire, Steam, all that kind of stuff running on my far left monitor. And then the idea was that I was supposed to have a monitor arm raising another smaller, kind of crappier monitor up and over those 2 and pointing down at me so that I could monitor my 2 servers on that. And that was going to be awesome. I'm trying to get to like the undergrad's gimpy level setup, but not there yet. Getting there. But then that arm just sucked.
Yeah.
Failed. And like the table was here.
Well,
it would be like, oh yeah, bro, the bottom of your monitor is going to be here now, which your base could already do. And I was like,
well, you could reposition it.
The arm?
Yeah.
Barely.
Okay.
Like that, I'm serious. Like it didn't get much higher. It did get higher, but like not
so
really.
Why did you go dual monitor as opposed to some other setup?
Like triple or 3D?
Yeah.
Not interested whatsoever in surround gaming. Nope. Just like, nope. I do not like surround gaming at all. And 3D gives me headaches. Although when I did the 3D testing for
You had never used 3D vision with Light Boost,
with
had
Light
you?
Boost, no,
Ah, there you go.
it still didn't make my head feel that great. But when I played certain games, like okay, with our Skyrim all modded out, it looked horrendous.
Oh yeah, the shadows were all wrong.
But we're 99% sure that's because we modded the crap out of it.
18 mods from the Steam Workshop.
Yeah, and like you can do way more than that, but just
But
3D's not so happy with that. But like Witcher 2, holy crap.
well, that's a 3D vision ready title though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Although, what did Nvidia rate it? I think it was just like fair.
Fair, really?
I don't remember.
It looks pretty good in 3D.
I could be remembering this
It-
not very right
It
because I
might
was
be
really
performance
tired when I
issues
did
though.
them.
Yeah, I think he hadn't slept much in a long time.
Yeah, so if it's not fair, don't worry about it. But like, I'm actually kind of interested in picking up Witcher 2 again and just like trying to play it 3D.
Which,
Just 'cause it looks
of course,
so good.
He assumes he gets to borrow a monitor, I guess, since he just bought monitors and clearly isn't buying a 3D monitor. The assumptions this guy makes. So for me, I personally prefer a single large format monitor. He went with dual 24s, whereas I'm using a 30-inch monitor right now. And if I was going to make any changes to my setup, I would probably go with 3 by 2560 by 1440. Or if I can hold out long enough, I'm going to wait for a single 4K display. Because I don't really, for work, I like having separate monitors, and that's great. But for play, I'm generally only really doing one thing at a time. I'm not copy pasting a lot of information from one place to another, which is the main benefit of multiple monitors to me, is I can read this while I'm working on this and monitoring that.
See, my thing is I like, even if it's just for play, I like to be able to see everything at once. Like I said, I have all my...
Well, then why don't you get surround?
But what, that doesn't make any... That has... I'm not... Just let me finish talking. See everything at once, not within the video game environment. Let me get to that in a moment, sir. First...
You're grouchy.
First, I want to see all, like if someone messages me on Skype and I'm in a game, I don't want to tab out to look at it. I want it to just be right there. Someone messages me on Xfire and I'm in a game, I want it to be right there. If something happens on one of my servers, I want it to be right there. I want to be able to see everything at all points of time. I like that. And
So
then,
basically, you want to be God.
Yep.
Okay.
And then,
At least you're clear about it.
and then when I'm gaming, I don't really like anything larger than a 24-inch. Because and even 24-inch is like kind of borderline for this, is because if I have to like look to see something, that probably took too long, and I'm probably dead.
Okay, fine. Okay, so basically neither of us is necessarily going 3D anytime soon. However, I would definitely go 3D on a projector setup because I find the pixel response times on LCD are still too slow for me to really enjoy 3D because I can still see a little bit of crosstalk between the images. However, on a DLP projector, DLP is fast enough. However, the last 3D DLP, I don't think I told you this, I've never seen the rainbow effect before on a DLP. The last one that I used, that 3D one from BenQ, hardcore saw it.
No.
So when your eyes flick from one point on the screen to another, you see a rainbow on any sharp lines. And I was really, really disappointed with that because what I'm waiting for is a 3D solution. An OLED 3D display would be like awesome because the response times are great. So I'm waiting for a 3D solution that I can really, really get into. You know what? Let's do Tesla Model S. So Slick wasn't there when I was prepping this, but I had a few people who were a little bit upset with how quick we were to jump on the writer. What was his name again? Broders. To jump on the writer of the article that basically kind of said Tesla Model S is not really ready for what I do. Oh, there goes my list of stuff again. Tesla Model S is not ready for prime time, and you know the rated range is not what they're saying it is. Where Tesla came back and said blah 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 blah. He basically called it a fake. CEO of Tesla, well, part-time CEO of Tesla, called it a fake and said that the writer screwed up a bunch of things. So there's more discussion to be had here, and we shouldn't have jumped on the writer so quickly because it's a week later now, and that was already going on for a little bit, and this is still a pending like ongoing thing, because there's more to it than just that. So Tesla is making claims about the range, saying, you know, the writer should have driven it in this exact way and should have done this and done that. Where the writer was more approaching it from an everyman perspective. That's sort of the way that he's presenting this, where he's saying, well, what if I wasn't an expert? And what if I didn't necessarily understand all the finest details of the Model S and how it should be driven for optimal range? What if I was just a dude getting in his car, going on a road trip? With the point Tesla was trying to make with this demonstration being that it's a replacement for a gasoline car. So was the writer wrong? Probably. In fact, New York Times' editor has actually come out and says his imprecise and casual notes left his article open to criticism. So that's not quite an admission of fault, but you know, she also believes that he was taking the drive in good faith. And okay, so in Tesla's defense, there have actually been Tesla owners who have done that same drive to see if it can be done, but it's unknown how much the cold weather was impacting the battery life. And it does, and more than Tesla claims. Tesla claims only about 10%, which is the same as a gasoline engine, but that's been shown to be not quite true in a number of different places. So we don't know how much of it was the cold weather impact. We don't know how much of it might have been a faulty charging station, because I don't know if you know about this, but some of the Tesla owners who tried to repeat the drive actually ran into trouble with one of the charging stations bricking and then refusing to charge a couple of the cars, and Tesla had to like reboot or update the firmware or something on the charging station in those cars for that whole convoy to get going again. So it wasn't without hiccups either. So right now, what I would like to say is I shouldn't have been hasty, and I will avoid doing that in the future. And this is still very much ongoing, so we're reserving judgment. But the writer should have been more diligent. His own editor has called him sloppy or imprecise and casual. I don't want to make sure I use the right words, because that's exactly what she said. And Tesla also needs to, I think they're playing this up a little bit, because the saying is there's no such thing as bad press.
This hype for them is really good, considering we just jumped on board.
Everybody's talking about the Tesla Model S.
In our defense...
We've never talked about a car ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, in our defense...
when we jumped on this, there was not very much online about it. I had read about this like that morning, and then we tried to come up with something...
Yeah, we were discussing it, and we tended to side with, I mean, I think naturally we're both geeks.
So it sided with the tech company,
it
was a Gawker post we were reading.
Yeah, so we wanted Tesla to be sort of, you know, blameless in all of this. We want the electric car to be like, I would love for the next car I buy to be electric.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Would love for that. I mean, my car right now has 168,000 kilometers on it. If I can go the kind of kilometers I'm putting on it now, if that car goes 200 to 250, I could probably buy an electric car feasibly the next time I buy an automobile.
Which would be awesome.
Which would be amazing.
Because like you can buy electric cars right now, and one of my really good friends has one, but talking to him about some of the stuff that he has to go through to like make sure that everything will work is...
You know what would be so cool? Wireless charging electric cars. So you pull into, so like, you know, high-end homes will have a garage that's outfitted with wireless charging. So they could have like a human proximity sensor, because I'd imagine that anything that can provide that kind of current over wirelessly would not necessarily be that safe to stand next to.
Research Tesla, sir.
Well, okay, besides that, but has that ever actually been implemented in anything? There you go.
Someone will figure it out. I don't know. I haven't researched it enough, but... someone will figure it out, and maybe...
Someone will figure it out. Let's hope. Let's hope. And I mean, okay, if someone can figure out how to meter it, then great. But until then, it's not a conversation we're having. So we're going to be looking at conventional wireless charging. So if they had something like a proximity sensor, so there's no one nearby, and it was self-contained in such a way that, I don't know, you know, you put lead on all sides of it except the direction it needs to go.
Just be in the very floor, and when you drive in, it detects your car is there, and just...
Or something like that, or even, I mean, who knows? I mean, by then it might be even cheaper and easier to build like a robotic arm that just detects your cars nearby, finds the outlet, and then latches on with it. Exactly. Like, I don't know. I actually don't know. This is us just kind of talking about things that are kind of stupid, I realize at this point. But, you know, I'd love for that. You pull into your garage, your car charges. And, yeah.
Because you don't want to have to think about the plug every time, because then the one time you... forget about the plug, You can't drive to work in the morning, and your boss is like, "You're fired."
Yeah.
That's not very fun.
You're fired just for talking about not being at work.
That's the first time today.
Which, by the way, you weren't at work for the beginning of the live stream, so you were hardcore fired for that. Like, so fired. Okay, we've got one more Twitter question here that I did want to get to. Favorite piece of...
Scroll down.
I'm trying to scroll down. No, they don't come with dust out of the box. Come on, man. Favorite piece of technology you've purchased ever? That's a great question. I'm going to go first. And I'm going to narrow the scope to computer technology because that's mostly what we cover here. So a lot of the stuff that I have, I didn't purchase per se. So it's, I mean, probably almost everything you see on the table behind me was samples provided by manufacturers for us to do testing on, for us to make videos about, for us to just, you know, kind of talk about so that I'll actually know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's in their best interest for me to understand their products well enough to talk about them. I think sort of at this point we can all agree on that.
So basically, give us a Tesla.
Yeah, basically. Basically, we're the only credible source, so you might as well give us one of the cars so we can check that. In all seriousness, would we have time to do a Tesla test drive?
I think if they gave us a Tesla Model S, we could
Not even New York Times got to keep the car, so...
No, we'd have to keep
Yeah.
it. Obviously, we'd have to keep the car.
So, yeah, I think... This is even stupider than the conversation we were having about the garage charging. By the way, stupider is apparently becoming a word. Yeah, I know. I heard this from my mom. She's one of those English major artsy people who is, of course, super offended about this. But, yep, stupider is apparently making its way to becoming a word. I mean, what's next? Funner? Seriously. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Which also isn't a word. And still probably isn't a word. So.
Did you say stupidest?
Stupidest.
Stupidest.
Also
okay.
is not a word. It's more stupid and, yeah. Or most stupid. That's pretty much the only way that can be done. What was I even talking about? Right, favorite. So my favorite technology piece that I ever actually bought was my Athlon 64 X2 4400 Plus. That thing was freaking awesome. Not only was it faster tangibly in benchmarks, or measurably in benchmarks than anything else on the market by just a landslide, with the exception of the 4800 Plus, which was slightly faster than the 4400 Plus. But what core was that? That wasn't Clawhammer, was it? I don't remember anymore.
It's been way too long.
Holy crap. No, Clawhammer was before that. Clawhammer was my 3500 Plus, I think.
I love the name of them before.
I know! Back then they were so cool. Sledgehammer was the original FX, I believe. Anyway.
You know how every graphics card used to come with the most epic, like, box art?
Yes.
It's just so cool. And now they're, like, super conservative. Ugh.
I actually prefer the conservative box art.
Really?
I mean,
Screw you, old
come on,
man.
Palette Frog?
Screw you, old man.
I mean, remember like MSI's and Asus's old cards where they just had like weird like characters and armor on the front and you're just like,
that's amazing.
That's not even a game.
It's not even from anything.
It's not from
It's
anything.
Just fantastic.
It's like these companies had a dedicated guy on staff who just
to like make
drew
cool
random
looking stuff.
Random crap to put on their box art.
This looks like it could be from a game. Good enough.
It's ridiculous.
It was cool.
Anyway, the 4400 Plus
Very 90s.
changed the way I used my computer in a way that probably nothing else has since then. SSD was close for me. In fact, SSD was probably a similar quantum leap in the responsiveness of a desktop computer, but unlike that processor, that move from single to dual core, unlike that, SSD did not improve gaming in any way. So load times are slightly lower, woo, but it didn't improve frame rates. So that processor improved frame rates in a tangible way, and it just destroyed anything else on the market from a multitasking perspective. So it made it so I was actually legitimately able to use my computer to do multiple things at a time in a way that just wasn't possible up till then. So in terms of, and I mean, I bought processors before and after that. My Q6600, my E6600, my 3500 plus, my 3200 plus, my 3000 plus. For those of you, for those of you who figure I'm some kind of NVIDIA or Intel fanboy, yeah, that's right. That was 5 AMD processors in a row. I replaced my 4400 plus with an Opteron 165. And that was finally when I went Intel after that.
The first
No, that's 6 in a row because I had a 2500 plus before that.
The first 3 or 4 processors that I either bought for myself or spec'd for other people in my family were all AMD as well.
So, so out of all of the chips that I've ever bought, the 4400 Plus has got to be my my favorite. Okay, have you had any time to think about your favorite piece of technology?
For me, you picked a couple, so for me, I'm going to go with 2. One of them was my 8800 GTS.
How did I pick a couple? I went with 4400 Plus.
Yeah, and then
cheating.
you talked about SSD.
Really? 8800 GTS?
You talked about SSD.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Just talk at the camera.
Every system I had before I built the system that had the 8800 GTS in it was like just dog slow in everything that I did. Mainly games. So at this point in time, I was trying to play WoW, and I was trying to tank at about 1 to 3 FPS, and that was just kind of ridiculous. I would go in vent, and I'd have 2 vent windows open, and another one would be with one of my friends that was always in the group with me, and he would be like, "Hey, you have to move in like this direction," because he knew I couldn't see it yet, and then I would move accordingly. That was ridiculous. And then once I got my 8800 GTS, it just crushed everything, and we still did like a jokes benchmark the other day, and it ran Crysis or Far Cry 3, which is just absolutely fantastic. Like, that's so cool.
Right.
It's so cool, and it's still running today on some dude's system. It went from me to a friend to another guy, and it's still running, and like, that's just awesome.
G80 was kind of beast. G80 was a game changer.
Like,
Yep.
so cool. And then my other one, and you're
I had 2 G80s.
Screw you, man. My other one, which you're probably going to frown at and revolt over, is...
You're preemptively fired, but go ahead.
and like, I didn't actually use it way too much, but I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and I liked it
Really,
because
that
of...
stupid phone?
What? What's
Oh, I thought you were going to go with a phone. Okay, go ahead.
Nexus S?
Yeah.
I love that phone, but no.
Okay, go ahead.
No
Go
way.
ahead. I'm trying to guess things that like I would be bothered by.
I'm just going to keep talking about it so you can hopefully guess. Because I liked, with this release, where I thought PC stuff was going. And now that Oculus Rift is coming out, that should be a hint, I'm even more excited. And once they, like right now, the pre-purchases are for the developer version. Once they release pre-purchases for the consumer version, I'm just going to jump right on that because I'm super excited for that.
Xbox Connect?
Nope. Connect? What?
Go ahead.
No.
And he didn't technically buy that. I gave him one, which he wrecked.
Bricked.
Yeah. Good work.
Nia.
Just shut up. Okay, you're like double fired. That's like 4 firings already.
It was cool, it was fun, and just because you can't use it doesn't mean that it sucked.
I was able to use it.
You said you could barely do anything.
I released a video where I used it.
Probably poorly.
I used it.
I used to play COD with it.
Why?
Because it was fun and interesting.
It's interesting to have poorer control than it. Okay.
It actually wasn't
fine,
that bad.
Fine. So why are you so down on the Peregrine glove then?
It's slower.
How is it slower than stupid Nia?
You're sitting here going, and there's too much change in between
They
fingers.
can't even see your hand. See, that shows you how much you know. You
There's
don't
too
even
much
know how to
change
lift your
between
hand.
fingers. The Peregrine glove, you have your thumb as an actuator and then a whole bunch of different touch points along
Well,
your fingers. So here, here, and here.
Your
and
hands
you
are
have
too
to
big.
touch.
The distance is smaller. Bam.
It's still slower than just clicking on a keyboard.
But you have access to more potential actuation points. It does something, what, like 15 commands or something stupid like
It has
that?
access to more actuation points than a keyboard. Sorry, what?
Yeah, like within easy reach of, say, for example, people who have small hands.
Okay, well, I don't have small hands, so I don't care.
And maybe it's not comfortable to have your arm up like this on a keyboard.
So buy a wrist
Okay,
rest.
so really,
or raise
really,
your chair.
honestly, Nia was faster than a Peregrine or a keyboard.
Yes. Not a keyboard.
Well then, why are you, okay, right, awesome. This is perfect. I love it when he does this. So why are you
I've
down
done
on...
this like once.
Why are you down on Peregrine for being slower than a keyboard? If your
Okay,
favorite,
which games?
piece of technology of all time, that's what they
I
asked.
said one of them.
One of the two,
And I
either
said
way,
because I liked where it was
is-
pushing the industry.
it didn't
And I
push
said I didn't use
anything.
it that much.
You know the Russian has my Nia still. If you'd like, I can re-obtain it for you.
I have mine.
You have a Nia? You bought a Nia?
We've talked about this before
Shut
on
up.
the stream.
Wow.
It was like $60.
That you'll never get back.
And I don't want it back because I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, viewers, I'm really disappointed in you for asking questions that make him sort of talk about phenomenally ridiculous stuff.
You think playing games with a freaking glove is a good idea? Other than Power Glove, which is amazing.
I think Parakin looks all right. I'd try it.
Looks alright? It had nothing to do with what it looks like.
Well, it doesn't. I don't mean looks all right as in like the artistic design. I mean, it looks
I'm
all
gonna
right.
press A and then go over here and press another macro and just try to be quick by doing this and carpal tunnel.
I would probably better than a keyboard. You know what? I don't want to talk about this anymore. What's your all-time favorite motherboard? That's not a bad question either, actually. All-time favorite motherboard.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be like kind of bizarre, and I'm gonna go with the P8P800E Deluxe. He has no idea what I'm talking about. 10 points if you even know what platform that's for.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a 478 board. That thing was a freaking brick. And I don't mean brick like
I was
dead.
like, that's a terrible.
Okay, it was a rock. It was a rock. What's the difference between a rock and a brick anyway? Shut up.
Because brick is used as a term for things that don't work anymore and can act as a brick in building
Yeah,
something.
rock could be used for building something. Stone wall. I'll stonewall you with this argument. Bam.
What?
That's a term.
I know. It's just kind of sad.
You know what? And I didn't use it much. I actually only used it for some random suicide runs on a, what was the stepping? It was an M0 or something, or like, it was some ridiculous stepping of a P4 2.4C, so it was a Northwood core, that I pulled out of an office machine that I replaced, and they were just like, yeah, whatever, just keep the old computer. I was like, holy crap, do you have any idea what this is? They didn't care. So it was like a legendary stepping of the 2.4C Northwood, and that thing blew. It did like 3.5 plus gigahertz or something like that. I think I got it up near 3.5, 3.8, somewhere in that range, with some crappy Vantech air cooler. And part of it was that board was a beast. It was absolutely solid. Follow-up to that would probably be the A8N32 SLI Deluxe. That board was so far ahead of its time. I believe that one was dual 16X SLI, although I could be wrong. It had heat pipe cooling. It had silent cooling. Back then, everything had whiny, annoying fans on them. I don't know. I've had a number of good boards. I think those two are probably my favorites. Do you have a favorite motherboard? You had an Enforce board. That's probably it, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Although that Enforce board got so many really, really bad reviews, and then I had no problems with it whatsoever.
Fair enough. I
And,
even
like,
wrote a poem about how
over-
bad my experience was with it.
I overclocked on it. I ran full dims, which you, for some reason, thought was miraculous. I did everything I ever wanted to on that board, and it didn't have a problem.
Populating all DIMMs on an NVIDIA N4 6 series board was like unheard of.
Had no problem.
As someone who tried to build like quite a number of high performance systems on those boards,
And
let me
those were
tell you.
like beast dominators, and I was running an Extreme Edition that was like insanely overclocked.
What do you think about running a graphics card without the plastic shroud on it? This guy says he's getting better temperatures. I'd say maybe it works for some cards, but I wouldn't recommend it for rear exhaust cards.
And some like specific build situations
Yeah.
too.
Wireless charging stations in development. That's good. Great. I have. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what exactly those models are, but it looks like
Monitors.
two 24 inches and a 23 inch. Should I switch that for another 24 inch? And if you do that, then yes, I would switch out your 7850 for something more powerful.
Matching models are nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice thing to have everything look the same. Advantages and disadvantages of SLI and Crossfire. You know what? I've probably covered that a lot of times in the past. I'm going to leave that one off. Have you tried the light boost hack on your 140 hertz monitor? I haven't. I don't have a 144 hertz monitor. I only got that one to do an unboxing, and then I was done with it. But what I will do is I will email that tweet to myself, and then we will go ahead and check that out. Here, I have more topics. So PS3, have you checked out the PS3 specs and all that?
PS4?
Yeah, that one. Who cares? It doesn't matter anyway.
Since the initial leak, have they changed?
I
Like
don't
a
know.
while back?
There's official specs. Yeah. There's official specs. What do you
I
live
have not
under
seen it.
a brick?
Well, for the last week, I've worked almost the entire day working on Titan. Screw you. The only two news topics I have for this week are from this morning, when I was prepping NetLinked Weekly, because I have not been online at all. Forum mods, if you're watching, hello. I'm sorry I haven't been on for a week. I've literally been sitting here benchmarking Titan for the entirety of the week. Won't block used games.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about this very
Because
briefly.
I don't know the specs, but
Oh, someone
awesome.
says stick to computers, my friend. Cars are a whole different thing. I think that is probably the most insightful statement that I have ever heard ever.
Very astute.
Way to go, Jeremy. You are the man. Indeed, cars are a whole different thing from computers. Although, we're going to see more integration moving forward than maybe you would think is possible. For example, cars may not run on gasoline in the future, which would make them more like computers. For example, cars are going to be chock full of features like GPS and MP3 players and email capability and SMS texting, which actually makes them closer to phones and computers than you might actually think. So who knows? Cars may be the domain of Linus Tech Tips not that long from now.
Maybe at some point we'll be overclocking cars.
Yeah, maybe we'll be overclocking cars. That would actually be kind of cool. I mean, well, you know what? You could probably overclock a car as simply as putting a beefier battery in it and throwing a beefier electric motor in it.
I can't wait till there's some gearhead that's like, yeah, I'm going to overclock my GT 780 Hemi. Yeah. That'd be sweet.
I mean, you know what? And the kind of processing that's going to go on in a car to make it self-driving would actually make it more computer than car. I would make that argument.
Once it's electric and it's self-driving.
Yes. Then what's actually left to call it a car? It's basically a computer on wheels.
Beast.
Bam.
Bam.
Bam. Jeremy just got told.
Linus Car Tips.
Yeah, Linus Car Tips Hardcore. I've actually already reserved that channel name.
Linus Car Tips 2016.
Yeah.
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 Yeah! All right, let's talk PlayStation 4. So PlayStation 4 is going to have, okay, first of all, okay, we're going to go kind of in order. So the CPU is an x86-64 AMD Jaguar 8-core CPU. So a couple of things. So people seem to be really excited about how games are going to be more multi-threaded now because it's got a multi-core CPU in a next generation console. You know what? The last generation consoles had multi-core CPUs too. Okay, Xbox's processor is triple core. Cell is what, 5-core or something stupid like that? I think it's a 5-core. We didn't get better multi-threading support except Crysis 3, which is like released now when like those consoles are going away. So I don't know where this idea comes from. One thing I am happy to see though is x86 compatibility because it means the flexibility of that operating system for not necessarily the flexibility for Sony, because who cares about their flexibility? They could do whatever they wanted with it. But the flexibility for guys like hackers and coders who want to get in there and tinker with it, that's pretty exciting to me. Also, the ability to potentially have easier cross-platform development for things that are going to run on PS4, computer, Intel-powered phones, tablets.
Maybe this has something to do with Bungie's project.
That
they're just not really talking about. Oh, what is it called again? I'm not going to remember the name, but it's fairly hush-hush right now. As far as I've heard, they just released a like 2.5-minute kind of big teaser trailer thing. So maybe there's more information out there about it now. But Bungie has this huge project because you know they bumped Halo 4 to another developer.
Yep.
And then Bungie was like, nope, we're focusing our entire company on this huge new project. And they keep on bringing this thing about how it's going to unfold over 10 years and like all this crazy stuff.
Sounds like a console project then, because PS4, if it doesn't last 10 years, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, like, so...
Looking at how the life cycles of these consoles keep extending.
Just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. The GPU will be 1.84 teraflops, AMD next generation Radeon-based graphics engine. So this sounds an awful lot to me like probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a GTX 660 in terms of power, like a 7850, 7870.
It's cool that consoles are getting over a teraflop when not way too long ago we were talking about the teraflop barrier.
However, just to be clear, teraflop barrier has been in the rearview mirror for a little while now. This card is a 4.5 teraflop card. So for those posting on videos on YouTube, there seems to be an awful lot of people doing this, that PlayStation 4 is going to revolutionize HD graphics and leave the PC in the dust and blah, blah, blah. No, it isn't.
That won't happen, although it's way easier for game developers to optimize things for a system that doesn't change. So graphics will look a lot better in relation.
Yeah, it'll look all right. And apparently it's going to have 8 gigs of GDDR5. So that to me sounds potentially 4K ready. So the graphics might actually not look that much better in terms of how many triangles and in terms of the pixel processing power, but textures will be possible to be loaded into the memory to even run at greater than HD resolution. So that's pretty exciting as well. It's still going to have a hard disk, and I've seen some comments that people were disappointed that it didn't have an SSD, but
I load all my games onto a hard disk.
and we had this discussion actually earlier on this live stream completely by accident. An SSD contributes nothing to your gaming performance. So
Game load sits in RAM.
game load sits in RAM. It's not like the console needs to be moved around a whole lot unless you're sort of a hardcore LAN gamer with your console.
And like once the hard drive parts,
Yeah,
you're probably fine.
probably fine. Yeah, read-only optical drive, that sort of figures. Blu-ray, again, super speed USB 3, great. Gigabit Ethernet. 802.11n wireless, that's a little bit disappointing, especially given how we've seen AC outperforms N.
Yeah.
But AC is so expensive right now.
And they'll probably have dongles considering they have USB 3 ports.
Yeah, and I think they're targeting, I think it was $450 for the price.
Wow.
So very aggressive. Although that could end up being completely revised, or that rumor could be completely wrong.
Wasn't PS3 like $1,000?
No, I think it was $599 or something like that.
But like
But
not
it
to
dropped
buy
quick.
not to buy the like super terrible core edition, like to actually get a good system.
Well, no, the early PS3s, none of them were bad. They all had
No?
backwards compatibility, for example.
Okay. I know with Xbox they had the core edition or
Yes, Xbox had Core Edition.
whatever. Yeah, and if you bought the core edition it was like
It didn't have a hard drive,
didn't have a hard drive. You like
which
couldn't
made it fail, basically.
you couldn't play a whole bunch of games on it.
But the good news is it probably died and got replaced with a hard drive model later.
Rendering.
Woo!
Yay.
That was the strategy all along. HDMI output, of course. Analog output still, which is, I mean, probably necessary because
Well,
not
it'll
every.
work on tons of stuff.
I mean, North America's fine and interesting with HD TVs costing $699, $599, but there's lots of territories where lots of people are still running analog. So apparently it's coming this year. They're not going to block used games, and I think that's pretty much all we have to say about
Wasn't
it.
it like April or something?
You know what? When PS4 comes out, we should do like a marathon live stream of not lining up for PS4 and all of the better things that we're doing instead.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That would actually be kind of amazing. So as
I'm
soon as
100% down.
As soon as we hear about a PlayStation 4 lineup, we should just go do something that's way more fun and just stream it, like play PC games.
We should go to the PlayStation 4 lineup
Yes.
with like a truck or something
Yeah,
and power our computers off it and have
Yes.
a PC LAN in the very front of the PS4
we should
lineup.
just have a LAN at a PS4 lineup.
Yeah.
And we'll be like, yeah, those graphics that you're waiting for so that you can go
We have to
experience?
play games that are going to be
Yes.
launch titles if they're on PC already.
I really doubt it.
Probably not.
Probably because there won't be any launch titles. Woo! Wow!
Crushed.
If it's anything like PS3.
I think Watch Dogs is going to be a launch title, which is actually pretty cool.
Okay, whatever.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Oh, maybe they'll have another Final Fantasy where you run down a corridor. I miss good Final Fantasy games so much. They were so good.
Yeah.
They were so consistently awesome.
I tried.
5, 6, and 7 were so good.
I got to go back and play some. I tried 13. Did I tell you about that?
I
tried 13
why?
because I was
Why
like,
even
well,
bother?
I had it. Like a friend of mine came over and he left
Oh.
and kind of left it at my house. So I was like, I'm gonna try 13.
Which
Like,
console is 13 for?
Xbox 360.
That's the okay, yeah.
and the most fascinating thing about it was there was always this little button like kind of peeking out from the corner that I just kind of ignored, which was like I don't remember what it actually was, but it's just basically like the autoplay button. And at some point I'm like, just what is this? Like, because I'm going through and scripting my battles and I'm doing pretty alright, and I clicked that and I'm like, wow, I kind of like did all the right stuff. I'm like, really? Like, what is this? So I just kept on like, wait, this literally plays the game for me. It turned into this like big rolling cinematic with me pressing buttons like derped out on the couch.
I mean, even the most strategy heavy Final Fantasy games, like some of the earlier ones where you actually had to, like you were in random encounters, you might actually die.
Yeah.
Even some of those ones, like there was pretty much only one right move, and any kind of AI that's not powered by like, chimpanzees is probably going to do just fine. So, I mean, realistically, could they have written an autoplay button for Final Fantasy III? Yes.
Should they have?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it really doesn't enrich the gaming experience.
No.
Oh, we have really exciting news. Fractal Design
Ooh.
is going to be joining us for the live stream next week. So Josh from Fractal Design is going to be positioned in between me and Slick. And I mean, if you want to get closer to me and have him on the other side, that's fine too. But yeah, we're really excited about that. So we'd love for you guys to go ahead and actually, if we could have someone watching the live stream, do us a huge favor. And in the computer cases section, if you could sticky it after the live stream, go ahead and, okay, please don't 6 of you go create them now. But go ahead.
We've got a bunch of mods. Please, guys, clean this up.
Yeah.
Merge the topics.
Merge the topics. But we'd love for you guys to post any questions that you'd like Josh to address about Fractal Design cases or power supplies or other products. And yeah, we're going to have a really great discussion. We're not going to be limited to just Fractal Design talk, though. We're going to do our usual thing with Twitter Q&A, and you guys will be welcome to send in questions on Twitter, and we'll try and get to them if we can, but sometimes it can be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, we're really, really excited about that. I think that's going to be freaking awesome.
I'm just messaging myself so don't forget about that.
Okay, good work. You're unfired once.
Yay.
So
now I don't get fired during the day. I only get fired during live streams.
that's true. I haven't fired you at all this week. Mind you, you've been working really hard this week on stuff that I frankly didn't want to do. So yeah, he did almost all of the benchmarking for Titan. What did I do?
The only things that I didn't do was half of the 3770K benchmarks over there. So you ran
No,
3
I did
games?
some of the 1080p benchmarks while you were sleeping.
What?
Didn't you notice when you came back a bunch of the benchmarks were run?
Not that many.
Well, some of them were. And I did some of the 3D benchmarks as well.
Yes, you did. You did one platform for 3D.
One platform for 3D, and then I think I did a couple of them on 1080p, so there. Bam.
I did at least
Or like I finished one and then finished Titan or something like that.
Yeah, that might have been it.
Don't worry, Slicks and my testing methodologies are still very, 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 very close, so it doesn't matter who ran the benchmarks. I trust them either way.
We record our own benchmarks and show them to each other.
Yeah.
So the second, like that's where the idea for showing our benchmarks came from, because we do that to each other anyways. So we're like, hey, we might as well share it with everybody.
Yeah, that way you guys can test benchmark. Although, you know what, I found out something funny about your StarCraft 2 benching methodology. That map isn't available in some regions.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So people are like, oh, I can't find it. And then someone else jumped in and they're like, yeah. I mean, the good news is StarCraft 2 kind of runs on anything, so who cares?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for being noob at
Well,
StarCraft 2.
How was I supposed to know?
Oh man, Jeremy's comment is so good. Cars are different from computers. I love it. Hard to say. I tend to prefer single GPU solution, so Alex, I'd probably pawn it off and get a 670. Just built my 5800K PC in a Roseville Challenger, running stock graphics. What should I upgrade? Lots of things? Sorry. I guess grab a graphics card.
I love how he lists his DVD drive.
Get a 7850 or something like that. Best tech live stream. Aw, thank you.
Yay.
Is Cold SC a thing?
That's my brother.
Oh. Okay.
Yay, brother.
Thank you.
Hi, Richard.
I agree with Slick. I knew I'd heard of it before, but I didn't know why. I agree with I have an Asus Pro Art as well. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Alex.
way to go.
They're amazing. I'm so sold now. Before I bought them, I was like, I don't know if this is worth it.
Corey gets a major gold star for just being awesome. Getting to listen to the live stream with my Zonar STX, awesome sound card, and typing with the new Ducky.
He tweeted at me earlier, I don't know what day it was because this whole week is one gigantic blob, saying that he got that sound card and got that keyboard. And I was like, yes.
Joshua Kuhn had a great question. Can you guys explain how to achieve positive airflow inside a case during the live stream tonight? We'd love to. So I'm going to go get some props while you get started.
I was just going to grab C70, and you're going over there, so I don't know what you're doing.
No, well, no, you don't need a case. Just kind of explain it. I'm looking for something, though.
The idea of positive airflow is to create a directional flow through your case so that you don't get an insane amount of dust. And I believe it helps with temperatures as well, right? It's just kind of generally good all around.
It's generally good to not have, well, they can't hear me because of the shotgun mic, but it's generally good to have positive airflow because less dust means less temps.
Okay, yeah, so what he's generally saying is that it helps with dust, which in relation helps with temps. Because if you don't have everything caked in dust, it's not going to get as hot.
Where's all that Silverstone stuff that they sent when we did the SG09 build?
They can't hear you, so
Well,
oh
to you.
well. I think it should be out in the hallway.
Is it really?
Probably.
Because they sent, you know what, I guess it doesn't matter that much. Okay, whatever, guys. So I was trying to find a fan filter because one of the key things about creating positive air pressure in your case is that you should have filtered intakes on your case. In fact, you know what? One of these cases probably has a filter on it. So
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a filter from the bottom of a Corsair C70. So positive air pressure means, okay. So your case has lots of openings. It has intakes and it has exhausts. So a lot of those openings have fans in them, or they can have fans populated in them, or whatever else.
This is so cool story, bro. Your case has these holes.
Look, I'm going somewhere with this.
And in these holes, you can put these fans. And these fans, they can spin.
He's trying to get fired right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give him the satisfaction.
No one's going to understand this, but this is a helmet.
Yeah,
Ding!
Yeah, that reference will actually never be understood by anyone.
Is it not being released?
No.
Oh.
No, that part won't be released. Oh, no, it might. Might go in the 840 Pro one.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, back on topic. So your case has lots of holes in it, some of which are the size that fans will go in. Some of them could be little cracks or imperfections in the metal or even screw holes that aren't populated, and those are a major dust problem. So when you have a case where, I mean, lots of cases these days have top exhaust and rear exhaust, and what people tend to do is they tend to go, oh, that's really close to my CPU socket, so I should move the heat away from my CPU by installing all my fans there, and the case can just passively intake air, which it will. But the problem with that is that it will passively intake air not only from fan holes, but also from little cracks in the bottom of the case near the floor or near the tabletop where it can suck in dust. And when you suck in dust, it's much more likely to settle somewhere in a negative air pressure environment than it is if you have positive air pressure inside your case. So positive air pressure means more intake fans than exhaust fans. So net, more air coming into the case than going out. So those fans that are exhausting actually get a little bit of a performance improvement because the air is being pushed towards them already when they exhaust. And what it also does is it means that all those little holes in the case, whether it's a seam around the edge of your side panel or whatever else, are not going to be sucking in dust.
You're essentially letting it float out instead of letting it float in.
Yes. So you're not sucking up dust. So that's why, for a positive air pressure setup, to actually get the most benefit, you want intakes, more intakes than exhausts, and you want those intakes to be filtered. Because if you're using positive air pressure, but you're just sucking in dusty air anyway, then yeah, you won't get dust quite as fast as if you're sucking air in through the bottom of the case where there is more dust settling, but you will eventually get dust buildup. A positive air pressure, a positive airflow, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Positive pressure inside your case with filters will give you a near dust-free PC operation experience. So there you go.
And fan filters are really easy to install, and if you're worried about them being as hard as they are to install, which is not hard, you can get these super easy, super intuitive fan filters. Yeah, that just like magnetically clip on. So you can just be like, bam, fan filter.
Yeah. So those are really cool. Another sort of cheap DIY solution is to use
really
black
cheap
pantyhose.
Yes. I've actually heard of that. I've never done that, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, no, that's a thing. The stream is choppy, apparently. It's an issue with the stupid AverMedia card. I talked about it at the beginning. Resetting it fixes it for a little while, so there you go. Wow, we have a lot of viewers tonight. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Midterms are over.
Oh my goodness, it's 10:30. The live stream is technically over. I don't think we've even...
We went long last time.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have an extended...
kind of go long every time.
Extended live stream. No, we don't go long every time. Sometimes we rush. Get it? Get it? Double meaning!
Yeah! It's horrible. We're past our time. Doesn't matter about quality jokes anymore.
Yeah, that's right. This is the after part. Where's that laptop?
What are you scrambling for?
I'm looking
over
for
here.
The S7. Did you move it over there?
No, you did.
Oh, dang it.
I was wondering why. Remember when I was like, I can go get the C70?
Officially my favorite laptop ever, by the way. I love this thing, Aspire S7. The one thing that I have to complain about is that the touchpad is a little bit on the laggy side. and then it's multi-touch, and I'm not really used to it, especially on Windows 8. So
You've also had some unlucky times with the sleep button on the side.
oh
Is
yeah,
it a hibernate
yeah.
button or sleep button?
It's sleep. It's just sleep. And you know what? It doesn't bother me that much because it's so fast. Like it's SSD based. It's Windows 8. So there you go. I pressed the button for sleep just now, so it goes to sleep. I press the button right now to wake it up. So if I accidentally put the laptop into sleep, it takes exactly. Oh, actually, I don't know if it had finished going into sleep. Oh yeah, there it goes. It takes exactly this long to sort of get back to full functionality. So it's really not that bad. And it's the kind of thing I can get used to. Oh, we haven't forgotten the Windows 8 giveaway. We are going to do that.
Do we have a question?
No. Do you want to formulate a question while I talk about the HTC One?
Sure. Is this going to be something about our show?
I don't know. Who cares? Come up with a question. Something preferably that they can't easily Google. So maybe something related to our videos.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so the HTC One. I would like to share a video with you guys about the HTC One. So we've already seen the HTC One S and the One X, which are some pretty high-end Android phones. Well, the One S isn't really that high-end. It's more like a mainstream Android phone. Well, okay, enthusiast mainstream. You know what? Whatever. I'm going to give up on categorizing it. It's a pretty nice phone. Metal backing, beautifully constructed. The HTC One takes that and completely blows it out of the freaking water. Like it's not even on the same. It's not even on the same playing field. The One is HTC's sort of envisioning. This is all HTC talk right now. This is all from the press release. I haven't got my hands on one yet, so yeah. But they're saying this is the reimagining based on what they would really love for a phone to be in an ideal world. So, oh shoot, I don't think I'm going to be able to sign into that email that I sent to myself
What about this?
with the,
Don't read it.
sure, yeah, that's not a bad one. I don't know if anyone's actually going to be able to answer that though, so come up with an alternate.
Okay.
Um,
Just a lot of them are too easy. That's what
I'm really worried about, in case you guys were wondering, the streaming live, yeah. The reason that the live stream was so choppy last week, because I accidentally hit a hotkey that was a local recording hotkey for Twitch. So I was live streaming and local recording at the same time, which was causing performance issues. So I'm really afraid to type anything into a browser right now because I can't remember what my hotkey is. But it's okay, because I just emailed to myself the list of the things that or the link to this. So the One changes a few things fundamentally. It has a unibody design, which apparently, according to HTC, is taking 200 machine hours per chassis to machine this thing. Okay? So I mean, imagine that. I mean, the cost of a CNC machine is thousands and thousands of dollars. So you know, any time on a CNC machine, any rental time is expensive. Not only that, but the blades do dull. They do wear out. So you've got incremental additional cost in terms of blades. So I don't know if HTC is outsourcing the manufacturing, or I don't know if they've actually invested in the machinery it takes to build these on their own. But these phones are freaking expensive to make. Not even completely ignoring the hardware specs. Hardware specs, nothing to do with it. No, that's boring. Nothing to do with it. It's just an expensive slab of metal already, totally custom finished. Then it's a very high-end phone. It has a 1080p screen with 1080p 4.7-inch screen, which is some ludicrous pixel density. Like I think it's 446 pixels per inch or something, sort of just ridiculous like that. I'll have to look it up. It's in my notes. It also pretty much reimagines the way that phone cameras are going to be done. And I hope that this is a trend. I really do. There's a really interesting article actually on Anantech right now. It's on the front page, talking about how not only is there no benefit to this race to more megapixels, particularly on phones, because they're limited by how big the sensor is. They're limited by how big the optical stack can be, because it has to fit in a phone. It may even be detrimental. So having larger pixels on a CMOS sensor versus smaller pixels to actually capture the light may actually be beneficial, because it'll give you more dynamic range. So that is to say, it'll capture more detail in the blacks and more detail in whites in the image. It'll give you a crisper overall image. It'll give you better low light performance in general. and just is pretty much better in every possible way, because we were at the point where on the sensors, the tiny sensors that they're able to put in phones, cramming that many pixels into it was getting to the point where the pixels weren't much bigger than the size of like a light wavelength. So, or like of a light, what's it called? Help me. Waveform. Thank you. You didn't say that. He didn't say that, but I thanked him anyway. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear you.
I'm trolling.
Oh, you didn't say it? Whatever. So the point is that it wasn't even able necessarily to make use of all of those pixels. So it was actually oversampling the image just because they could jam more pixels into the space. There was actually no benefit from a physics standpoint. The AnandTech article is excellent. It goes into much more detail than I am capable of because I don't have the same kind of optical science background that the writer of that article does. So do check it out. It's awesome. But anyway, HTC is going with a lower aperture lens, which is better. That means it has clearer optics, so it'll capture more light compared to pretty much any other phone out there. So it's an f2.0. They're going with larger pixels, fewer larger pixels, and they've added a mode that is basically kind of like taking little video snippets instead of pictures. So they're calling that, I don't remember what they're calling that, but that sounds kind of cool too. Not the kind of thing I would necessarily use. I'd probably go still image, or I'd take a longer video if I feel like it. But 1080p screen, 468 pixels per inch, 200 hours on the machine, game changing, f2.0 aperture lens and larger pixels, and finally, front-facing speakers. Why did this take so long?
You kind of have to pick one.
Okay, fine. Why did this take so long? Why does my iPad 2 have one speaker on the rear bottom of the tablet? Why does this 8X phone have one speaker at the bottom of the phone? Do I ever watch content on it like this? No. Does it already have a speaker on this side? Yes. Why did this take so long? So they're calling it Boom Sound, and it's different from their Beats by Dre, which will still be in there. So, or rather, not by Dre anymore, I don't think, but their Beats audio, which will still be integrated in the phone through the headphone jack, presumably. But it will actually have two front-facing speakers to work in stereo the way that sound should be. Because how often? Tell me this, guys. Here, tell me this. How often have you been watching content on your phone and cupped your hand behind the phone to reflect the sound at yourself, right?
Yeah. Another thing that I do is when I do alarms on my phone for waking up. So I always have to remember to flip it upside down so that I can actually hear it. Because if I lay it down like this, it's all muffled. And I'm like, well, okay, I just missed my alarm.
And you're late for work, which happened at least once this week, I think.
I don't even care. I worked so much overtime.
I think what we really want to do when we're designing a phone is...
You know what? Do you want to... whatever.
Do you want monitor?
No, don't worry about it. No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so this is the video I wanted to show you guys where HTC is talking about what went into the unibody design of this particular phone. So...
The dream was really the zero-gap construction to come up with a part that has no part breaks.
No, I'm actually just going to turn him off and I'm going to talk. So he's basically talking about how they want to completely change the way that phone design is done, and then Jethro comes in. They're kind of going for that Apple-esque approach with this video, which is, you know, whatever. I mean, hey, if Apple does something, it's probably not necessarily, okay, check this out. So they custom designed the tools to build this phone. You can see the water jets that are cooling the phone itself. So it's made out of a single block of aluminum, unibody design. And I mean, I'd like to go back to that frame there for a second, because this should give you guys some idea why this takes 200 hours on a machine, right there. It is not, okay, a unibody design is not as simple as, come on, go YouTube. A unibody design is not as simple as just taking a brick of aluminum and like hollowing it out. They have to actually build a chassis that they can mount a whole bunch of stuff in. And I mean, if one mistake gets made, it gets thrown away, and aluminum's not cheap, and all this stuff. the complexity that goes into this is just outstanding. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one of these.
The weight of it will probably feel really nice.
I love the weight of like the iPhone 4. Like I like heavy phones, so
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this.
That's one thing, actually, randomly enough, I liked about the Titan. It actually feels like something when you pick it up.
So here he says some other random junk. Here, yes. So this is a custom process that they used to get the back of it to be in a very sort of natural curvature sort of shape. Here they're showing some of the final finishing on the phone. So spec is sort of fine details, diamond cut edges. So spec is fine and interesting and all that, but this is a truly premium device that I'm really, really excited about. And this is actually, I don't know if I've even told Slick this yet. Okay, I'm done watching this video now. This is actually the phone that I'll be using for my 30-day Android trial.
You did.
Did I tell you this? Okay,
yeah.
so I am going to do a 30-day I switched. I think I'm done with Windows Phone 8. One thing that I'll be doing at the end of my 30 days with Windows Phone 8 is I will be giving my HTC 8X away to someone in the audience. So we'll either do that on a live stream or we'll do that. You know what? Let's do it on the live stream. Let's make all 200 people who have tuned out since we were at our peak regret not listening to
We're going to do it right now?
No, we're not going to do it now.
Oh, okay. I was like,
but I'm going
what?
to give it away on the live stream. I'm sorry it won't be a brand new one. It'll be exactly this one, but...
Which is just like slapped against his hand.
Yeah, like, you looking forward to using this? Don't worry, it's okay. It's all solid state, so I'm not actually wrecking it. There's a couple micro scratches on the screen, but overall it's in really, really good shape. So yeah, one lucky viewer will get my 8X, and then I'm going to move on. I'm going to use an HTC One for 30 days and see if Android can win me over. However, wipe that smirk off your face. It's not necessarily going to be what I stick with. However, I did spend some time on the One S, just kind of dinking around with it, and I'm still not sold on Android. So we'll
You're
see.
using some, like, go back to default. Don't use their crappy, terrible OS.
Well, you know what? Sense 4.0 Plus actually has
Sucks.
some pretty positive reviews.
Bleh.
You don't like it? How much
Nope.
time have you spent with it?
A bit.
Okay, well, okay, whatever. I'll be trying it, so I will be able to formulate an actual opinion because I'll actually spend some time with it. But yeah, we'll go from there.
Or you could actually install something real.
Or
And being an actual Android user.
Or you could
and actually
actually
use
be
and
fired.
mod your phone. I'm surprisingly okay with being fired at this point.
not every Android user like roots their phone and stuff.
I'm not saying root your phone. Just change
Okay,
things.
why don't you handle the Windows 8 Pro giveaway? I think that'll probably be pretty much it. We haven't done our featured build of the week. Right. So, featured build of the week from the Linus Tech Tips forum is drumroll.
I'm excited because I've been totally offline.
I think this one's a bit of an older thread. So here, let me just, my hotkeys aren't working for Twitch. So this is a build by Gecko.
Yeah.
Called creatively My Main Gaming System. Go Gecko! I don't know if anyone actually ever posted pictures in the thread itself, but he's got a bunch of pictures posted. I mean, look at the way he's done the management behind the motherboard tray. I mean, yeah, that is freaking boss. Like,
That's awesome.
it's not copper tubing, no, but I still love it anyway because it's just, it's just freaking awesome. So you can see these pictures sort of go throughout the building
cool.
process. So he colors it black. So it looks really pro, even though it looks like just PVC joints, which I just think is really cool. Like actual plumbing stuff
That's
in a
fantastic.
computer sort of gets me pretty excited. So it's in a Cosmos 2. It's got a Rampage 4 Extreme in there, so very high-end build. And what I like about this build, in addition to all that, is check out those fans. Noctua, baby. Not every beautiful build cannot incorporate. Okay, some beautiful builds can incorporate Noctua colors in spite of their color schemes. I wasn't able to do it, but big kudos to Gecko for making it work because that works.
I would love to see, not that it's bad in any way, but I would love to see the Noctua dye mod that a whole bunch of people posted.
Yeah, me too.
That would be
actually.
very cool.
So there you go, more Noctuas. You know what? Their newer color scheme looks better than some of the older fans, where it's more of a reddy
Yeah,
brown.
yeah.
The actual brown looks pretty good.
Yep.
So here it is getting built up. Check out those individually sleeved
Very
cables.
nice,
Looks
very
gorgeous. Corsair Dominators in there.
Just beast.
Very, very beast. Asus DirectCU graphics card. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful machine.
Yeah,
So-
if you did like red blades with a black housing
Yep.
to go along with the rest of your build, that would look really, really good.
I mean, oh, you know what? I actually made a mistake. I called those water cooling tubes at the beginning. I think
It's
they were just
cable.
for cable management.
Yeah.
So yeah, just gorgeous cable management. Just using, simple Corsair H100. Not going over the top necessarily in terms of the cooling or anything like that, but nice, beautiful, premium components. Just gorgeous, gorgeous build. AX1200, great choice for the power supply.
Is he going to be running an extension for the sound card?
I'm not sure what he's doing. Apparently, Drunken Madness. I don't think I ever actually checked the last one. So there's a setup. But yeah, awesome build. Absolutely love it. Looks beautiful and very, very, very tastefully
I'm
done.
sure he's got a bridge or an extension or something for that sound card.
So guys, do feel free to post your builds. Make sure they're awesome. I mean, if you're going to have a chance of being featured on the live stream, but do feel free to post your builds in the build log section of the Linus Tech Tips forum. And we're going to do weekly features of builds from that section just because, we'd love to see you guys get a little bit more attention with all the work you put into your computers and have people check them out. So congratulations to Gecko for getting chosen this week. Slick's going to handle the live stream question while I go get a copy of Windows 8 to give away.
Okay, which one did you want to do?
I don't know. Try the first one. See if anyone can get it.
Okay. Okay, so let me bring up Twitter here real quick and change the scene, which I don't even remember how to do. What's even going on right now? Sorry guys, I am not good at this. That is not working at all. Anyways, the question is, what is the first video that I filmed for Linus Tech Tips? First video that I filmed for Linus Tech Tips. How does he even scroll? Sorry guys, 1 second. Your
All right.
C2 is like the broke.
Is it? Oh, I probably haven't refreshed it on that one or something. What do you mean it's LeBroke?
What do you mean refreshed it?
The card.
Oh, no, no, no.
What?
No.
What are
The
you talking
positioning for Twitter.
Whatever, man. Oh, well, no, it's this. There's your problem.
Oh, okay,
You
so
probably
you shove it
refreshed
on
the
the right
page
and
instead
then
of
you
just
push it
pressing new
over.
interactions.
No, it was just
You're-
full screen.
You're like right under the mic.
Oh,
just
sorry.
saying. As much as they love...
Usually we have it mounted on the camera, so I'm not used to it yet.
Yeah, I know, but I think they were saying the audio was like fracking awesome.
Sweet.
Because having it close to us like this should actually be a major improvement.
Cool.
Um,
I asked it, so check new interactions. See
Oh,
if
okay.
anyone has actually got it.
all right, someone asks, what GPU should I get? Anything around $1,000 is good.
Holy.
Pick up 3 660 Ti's. There.
Or two, and
Yeah,
Buy some
just,
games.
just get 2. Actually, 660 Ti is a really good choice.
spend some money on some games, man.
The unboxing of that one motherboard. What was the question again?
The unboxing of that one Mobo. No. It was, what was the first video that I filmed?
Ah, yes. Okay, so this is tough because the only way to know which one it was to hear me say that, oh, you know what? I did a few where I said I was interviewing.
You didn't post
People.
any of them except for mine.
Yes, I did. I posted them all.
I don't think so.
Oh, I did.
Unless it was after I was...
I wouldn't have wasted.
Unless it was after I was hired.
Yeah, it was after you were.
Oh,
It was
okay,
after
yeah,
you were hired.
okay.
So this is almost going to be a bit of a crapshoot. So whoever gets it right. So there's ones where I basically said,
That I was in the video.
yeah, that I had someone who was applying to be my new assistant filming it. It was one of those ones. It was not Slick's oil-cooled PC. It was not personal grooming with the USB shaver. That was a long time ago. Not Zybel 60.
I don't think anyone's going to get it.
I don't think anyone's going to get it either. That's really hard.
I know. Usually we post stuff that's so easy.
Whoa. That was it, right?
No.
Wasn't it?
No.
What was the first one you filmed? Oh.
Oh.
Oh, really close. I'll say that much. So now someone will get it for sure.
Bam.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. There we go.
Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down
Yeah,
a
let's
little
make
bit.
sure someone else didn't get it.
That
Oh,
looks like it.
he's close. What's a Levitron clicker? Like he must have meant mechanical keyboard.
And like that looks very specifically copied from a title.
Yeah, sorry man. I don't think you got it though. It looks like Jacob is the big winner.
Hopefully we're not wrong and clicker isn't just like the proper name for a Mech 4 or something. I
Yeah, it's
really
not.
don't think
no,
it
it's,
is.
it's not.
Yeah,
It's not.
did not
Yeah,
think
it
so.
was the ASIO Levitron Mech 4 unboxing. So congratulations. This is a copy of Windows 8 Pro that I won at CES at some event. So I will send you the key. Hopefully there's a way for you to use the key.
Careful with the key, don't show it to the stream.
Oh, there's the key. No, it's not the key, actually. So I'm going to follow you on Twitter. So go ahead, make sure you're following me. Send me a direct message to claim your prize.
That was tough. I'm
That was a
impressed
tough
that he
one.
got it.
I'm really impressed.
I was fully expecting to need to go to our second question.
Yeah, no, I'm super impressed.
'Cause not only is that old now,
Yeah, ancient.
that was
like a year ago.
yeah, and that was like not a really big thing, really.
Nope.
It was just like quickly mentioned at the beginning or end of the video.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, do we have anything else that you wanted to cover on the live stream? I think we're getting pretty late here. Oh my goodness, it's almost 11. Okay, yeah, we should go. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
We should move that so that it's closer to the lens, so at least we're not just like blatantly staring like off.
It wasn't
camera.
that bad before either.
Yeah.
It wasn't that far off. Even though it seems closer, it wasn't that far off.
No, I think it helps that it was closer to us. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the mic was a good idea, but we need to fix this thing.
Well,
So-
this is just where it was because we moved it out of the way when we were filming all the Titan stuff because you were walking back and forth across the room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. How's dinner?
I didn't eat yet.
You didn't eat yet?
No.
Oh, did you end up sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh.
The reason why I wasn't on the live stream when we first got back was I had a brutal splitting headache. So I crashed for a bit, set an alarm, but apparently I just slept right through my alarm.
Well, you slept through that,
and
then you slept through my 10 minutes to live stream warning, and then you slept through my no. I came in and said, "Hey, we've been live for 10 minutes before," and then I was a little bit late launching the live stream, like 7 minutes, and I was like, "Hey, we were supposed to be live 7 minutes ago. Get your butt in gear." And then you didn't come down, so then I came and got you like 20 minutes, half an hour into the live stream. So way to go! So fired. Like,
I made it.
just so fired.
I made it.
Yeah, you made it. That's true. Everyone says goodnight. We should see how many people tune out when we say goodnight versus how many people tune out when we actually stop broadcasting.
We're doing pretty okay.
Yeah, we're doing pretty okay. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Oh yeah, this was Slick's benchmarking
Oh
fuel.
my goodness.
How
So-
much of this did you eat? Like, was
About
this
half
full?
of it. No, I went through. Is it a half? Wow, that's like 3/4. So over like 2 or 3 days, I would just sit in here and I had to keep myself going. So I'm running on pretty much no sleep at all this whole time, running just an incredible amount of benchmarks. So I had Stoned Wheat Thins crackers, and I went through 2 entire bags of Stoned Wheat Thins crackers.
All for this.
and 3/4 of a tub of chunky peanut butter.
That's disgusting.
Which obviously has nothing to do with why I had a headache today.
Yeah, probably nothing to do.
No,
with that. I mean, have you
nothing at
even
all.
eaten today?
No.
Did you have breakfast?
Well, remember I like partially threw up my first breakfast,
Oh, right. Okay.
and then we had lunch, and then
Right.
that
Oh, but
was,
you
like-
had lunch.
I had
That's
lunch,
right, you
and
had-
that was
that's right, you
like
did have
kind of
lunch.
unsettling. Remember, I almost like didn't finish,
Right. Okay.
so Titan kind of beat me up a little bit.
Dinner's really good though. Yeah.
Pretty
It's
stoked for that.
like peanut chicken thing and rice.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. I don't know if
Oh.
it's as good as the pasta that we had the last time though.
that was
That was awesome.
that was
pasta.
awesome.
Here's an interesting tidbit. We actually we did a video where we showed off our Titan test bench, showing the OCZ,
Oh, this is very interesting
Yeah.
actually.
showing the whoopsie daisies.
So many cables.
Showing the OCZ ZX1250 watt power supply as our test bench power supply. We have now officially retired that power supply from our test bench because
It will never return.
yeah, it will never be back. It still, outputs power and it's still very efficient and it's, beautifully sleeved and all that. But it makes our GPUs coil whine
Like
crazy, and some of our GPUs make it coil whine. So coil whine, if you guys don't know, I have a video demonstrating what coil whine is called coil whine or something along those lines. And so coil whine is really, really annoying to me anyway. And it can often be not only one component, so two components might actually individually not coil whine at all, but when you put them together, they might coil whine. So this particular power supply caused our AMD graphics cards to coil whine. So here I thought every AMD card...
And our NVIDIA ones.
Which one?
Titan. But
No.
very quietly.
Titan made this coil whine.
Oh, that's what was coil
That's
whining.
what was whining on the bench when we had Titan on
Oh,
it.
'cause
That's why I figured it out, because I knew Titan didn't whine because I had it
Yeah.
on the other bench over there with
Yeah.
that like cheapo in-wind power supply.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if it doesn't...
Well, makes sense that it's whining over there.
But it didn't whine over there, but then it did
Yeah,
on our
yeah.
1250 watt 80 plus gold power supply. And I was like, oh, wait, what? So we went back and we realized that we had to redo all of our acoustics testing with a high quality power supply.
Oh,
So that's an
it's shining
Antec
like
High
crazy.
Current Pro
I have to
1000
hold it
watt.
all. I have to hold it all weird like that so you can actually read it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
High Current Pro 1000 watt 80 plus platinum power supply. This is actually one of the
there we go.
finest power supplies ever made in terms of the internal quality. Awesome power supply.
The soldering is a. I would hang
That's
it on
not
my
that
wall.
one.
Still.
But this one's actually really good
Still,
too.
if you look in the inside,
Yeah.
it's just like
It's
perfect.
absolutely gorgeous. Zero coil whine, zero unnecessary noise, and just awesome power supply. So we've switched over to that for our test bench. And so all of our power consumption numbers were taken on this one, but all of our acoustics numbers were actually taken on that one.
And doing very, very similar benchmarks to the power consumption that I did on that, just to make sure that that was somewhat accurate, I went back and while I was running those ones, would glance down at load and idle
Oh,
powers,
okay. Was it about right?
and they were fairly accurate.
Right. Although there was something wonky about our power consumption numbers, so I don't think I actually ended up publishing them.
I think that was
That was probably due to our test.
a few different things. Our
Yeah.
test wasn't that good, and different optimization problems and whatnot. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was interesting. I recovered okay, this is the craziest thing that the crazy Russian has ever done. So I gave him a 580 to use, and he actually, or rather a 590 to use, my famous Apple Edition GTX 590. And he actually asked me if he could trade this back to me for a 580.
590 is so boss.
I know, 590 is boss. 590 is most assuredly faster than a 580. So he has a collection of, and actually, okay, in his defense, it's a pretty impressive collection of the flagship card of every major GPU architecture. So he needs a 580 for his flagship Kepler GPU collection. So to add to his collection, whereas a 590, he doesn't collect dual GPU cards. I mean, I can see why, because they're baller expensive. But so he has, I think he has either a 9700 Pro or a 9800 Pro. He has whatever. He has like one super high end of each generation of cards.
Running down each brand?
Yeah,
or-
each side. So he would rather have the 580 for the fact that he can game on it now and have it for his collection versus having a 590 to game on and have it not be applicable to his collection. So I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard. So yeah. So anyway, that means that I could potentially go quad SLI for my personal rig if I ever actually finish building it. Or because the heat output from that would be ridiculous and summer's coming, I could just put this back into the benchmarking pool. So there you go. The 590 Apple Edition has been recovered, which is not really related to anything, but this is the after party anyway, so
Whatever
Yeah.
happens on the after party happens on the after party.
yeah. Oh yeah, here's all your dishes that you managed to not put away.
I basically
benching.
lived in here for a week,
It's cold in here.
and it's cold in here.
Yeah, what's the temperature in here right now? It's freaking cold right now. It's been cold today. So it's 11.8 degrees in
It's
here
actually
right now.
warmer than I thought it was.
Yeah, it feels colder than that. Maybe it's just because it was so wet today. It's so humid. Yeah, positioning that actually isn't going to make a difference. You should know the physics of that well enough.
It just changed 3.3 degrees.
Yeah,
So,
probably
what's up,
because
bro?
you like breathed on it.
It got
or
colder.
Something. You got colder.
What's up, bro?
It doesn't work that way.
There's different temperature zones within the room.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah, it just changed.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that, like, you're okay. I guarantee you wouldn't be able to feel the difference between
No,
0.2 degrees. This
no.
is a boring discussion topic.
It's the after party. Who cares?
Okay.
Are you gonna eat my peanut butter?
No,
What did you? What?
actually, no.
Hey.
We're not going to have a peanut butter fight right now. Although that would be kind of awesome.
Just chunky peanut butter foot. And it's super cold. Did I tell you about trying to eat crackers out of that?
No.
I had to like stick my fingers all the way down the crackers to reinforce the backs because it's frozen. Because it's in here. So at like 4 in the morning when I'm
Right.
like, oh, I want more peanut butter crackers, I have to like...
And you were so zoned out. There was a package with one cracker left in it that was sitting there for like an entire day. And I think you had actually started an entirely new pack of
Probably,
crackers.
yeah.
Just like leaving that one there. I was like, should I eat it?
Benchmarking. Benchmarking. Must get all the numbers.
I know. The benchmarking's not even done yet either.
I know.
We still have to do FX 8350 and then we're ready for the multi-platform one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then is that kind of it for benchmarking?
think
Maybe
that's
maybe
it.
redoing power if people care.
Yeah, we could redo power. I don't think anyone really cares that much. If you're buying a Titan, it's like you bought a Titan and you want to know like how much power it consumes.
You're probably not running your EPU. Pretty sure you can deal with it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah. He's finally going to Android.
I'm trying Android.
Diesel and I kind of have a victory there.
How is it a victory?
'Cause
I've tried Android
you made
before.
this big puff when you first moved to Windows 8 phone. Oh, I'm never trying Android. Rah, rah, rah,
It's
rah,
not that-
rah.
I've tried Android.
Well, you're trying Android now.
Well,
you said
yeah.
you weren't going to again, and you
Well,
are now.
I might have said that.
Yeah, you did.
I might have said that. However, the right device wasn't there. I wouldn't try Android on an S3.
Right.
I just
The
wouldn't.
build quality's shite. I love my S3, but the build quality is like, come on.
You can't call it
guys.
shite. I mean,
It's not that good.
it has an AMOLED screen,
Okay.
which is
I'm
more
talking about.
spec than build quality. I mean,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm
here-
talking about pure build quality from Samsung.
Here's the trade-off. Okay, so let's talk build quality for a minute because Samsung made a decision designing the S3 to have a user replaceable battery.
Yeah.
That will affect the build quality.
Yes, but then my Nexus S had a user replaceable battery and had a Boss backplate.
But it probably wasn't as thin.
I think actually maybe similar.
Either way, it does cost.
It was definitely thicker, but it wasn't thicker to the point where it's noticeable.
Okay,
or a
yeah,
problem.
but thicker to the point where it's noticeable is not a good marketing bullet point. You want to be able to say this thin on
Yeah, but
your...
I honestly would rather have a little bit more bulk in my phones. That's one of the reasons why I do not like iOS. I don't like Apple operating systems, but the feel of iPhones is nice because they weigh a little bit. I want to feel like I'm holding something. Like people are showing the see-through phones
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
are like super uber
that
thin.
looks cool.
And like that's cool, but it's gonna suck when I pull it out of my pocket. I'm like, I need to like somehow deal with this tiny fragile thing, which I'm probably gonna want to put a case on anyway, so I don't scratch the screen.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. A see-through phone with like an OtterBox on
Put
it.
an otter. One of like the OtterBox armors, just like
awesome.
super beast, or a pelican.
You know what else has been kind of happening right now is Google Glass is getting previewed. So the Verge's editor has like a billion tweets about it and is sort of talking about the user experience. You know, no, it's not suitable for just like sitting and reading an article or reading a book, but yes, it's cool in these ways and these ways and these ways. I mean, that is so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, Google Glass V1, it'll be a cold day in hell before I pay for that. I can tell you that right now.
But once it's like
Version
small
6.
and actually looks like glasses and
Yeah.
doesn't have this like crazy arm that goes around, like
Yeah.
once it's actually just a pair of glasses, that'll be fantastic.
Like it's like Bluetooth
Or contacts.
earpieces, where like the first generation ones, when people weren't used to it for one thing, so there was a stigma around it because you'd be like, and no one was used to people just walking around talking on their phone without an actual phone next to them. So there was like the social stigma that went along with it.
Yeah.
Google Glass is going to be like that for a long time. It's going to be like a super dork thing, I think. Until it's fashionable.
Yes, but
until it's a fashion accessory.
But geek and nerd kind of socializing thing, whatever you want to call it, like the
So geek culture is more socially
culture-
acceptable.
by a
That's
long
true.
shot than it was when Bluetooth headsets came out.
That's true. That's true.
Because it's like it's actually kind of fashionable and trendy to be the nerdy geeky thing.
I would go as far as to say that Android is still not fashionable or trendy.
I think that changed. S3.
I don't know that S3 is fashionable or trendy. I think it's just
Even
like the
in
best
I need
choice.
to not hit my head on that again. Even in like commercials and stuff now, people
Mm-hmm.
are holding. You know how it was always Apple, 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 Apple. People are
Okay.
holding S3s now.
Samsung spent like $1 billion on marketing last year. Do you
That's
think maybe
true.
that has something to do with it being fashionable and trendy?
At least a little bit, but it is.
But I don't think it's inherently fashionable or trendy.
It's not to
It's
the
not
level.
it's not a beautiful device like an iPhone is.
No, and it's not to the level of. And like, okay, some of the backs that you can put on them are pretty sweet. It's true, but you have to buy it aftermarket and then blah 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 blah. And I haven't even done it.
And that's a dorky thing to do.
Buy it aftermarket.
Yeah.
Does that mean buying cases is dorky?
Not necessarily, but it's like buying a fashion case is not necessarily dorky. Buying like,
Buying a back plate. So buying
Yeah.
a replaceable part, you're saying is dorky.
I would say it's more dorky.
I don't know. Maybe.
Because,
I
okay,
just have no idea.
like at a stand on the Las Vegas Strip,
you
there's
can get
like
cases.
Bejeweled or Hello Kitty cases.
Yeah.
Do they have like
Back
customized
plates.
backplates?
No.
That used to be more of a thing. Like I remember there was a Sony Ericsson phone that I used for a little while that had like a billion options for these like replaceable plates, and that
Replaceable
whole thing
plates.
just kind of died.
Yeah.
And then now it seems to be sort of back, but like whether it's cool again or not, I don't actually know. I'm not that cool, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah. We're both talking about like
Yeah, like what's
fashion
cool?
and culture, and we're both like
There's you in like your Team Liquid hoodie,
hoodie and Assassin's Creed shirt
and like me with like I have like bleach stains on my. See here, I got
and
like
thermal paste.
bleach stains, and like this is food or something, like this
Baby
stain
food.
here, and I have thermal paste on the insides of the pockets from like wiping thermal paste off my hands, and like that's what I'm wearing. Like this is what I look like in my jeans from Costco.
These are jeans that I bought in like grade 9.
Yeah. Well, mine are from Costco, and I own like 6 or 7 pairs of the same jeans.
That's fantastic.
I actually don't own other jeans.
I
And you know what the funny thing is
the
too about
same pair.
the funny thing about pants is that you know how many times I've been called out for wearing the same shirt over and over again on an
But
unboxing?
no one will call you out for pants.
Okay, so the shirt usually is because I do a batch of unboxings at a time, not because I wear the same shirt every day.
Yeah.
But if you look back at probably out of the 1,700 or so videos I've uploaded in the last 5 years, maybe the last 3 years, I'm wearing the exact same pants in every single one.
And here comes an influx of change your pants.
Yeah, but I will not change my pants. And yeah, so I have a pair of pants for every day of the week, and they're all the same. Actually, one of them is slightly darker than the others. And then one of them is hemmed, and the others are all shredded at the bottom. So, a fashion icon, I am not.
My favorite like story about how we're not fashion icons was Diesel joining the crew and then us being down in Vegas and him being so upset and distraught with the fact that I looked so horribly homeless.
Yeah, but I was a little upset and distraught with how homeless you looked too. It was kind of embarrassing.
So Diesel bought me
We're
jeans.
going to meetings, right? Like we're in meetings, and he's part of my crew, even hosting some of the videos, right? And the guy is wearing like ripped jeans in like business meetings. I'm just like, I asked him to dress decent, and he even said he was going to buy clothes before the trip. Did not.
I brought my nicest pair of
Diesel
jeans.
looked so pro.
I brought my nicest pair
I
of
looked
jeans.
somewhere in between, and then you looked like, I swear, there were hobos there that were dressed better than you.
They were. I was kind of upset
There
about
were
that.
legitimately hobos there that were dressed better than him.
And by like a couple tiers above. This is not like if I'm entry level, they're like Yeah,
Yeah.
that was bad.
That was just
I
embarrassing.
bet you if I sat down with a cup, I would have made the most money in Vegas.
Probably more money than I paid you in Vegas.
Probably.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I've had some people comment that that I must be a baller because of all the YouTube money and sort of everything. And I think one of the things they actually don't factor in is that we have an entire staff of 3 people at Linus Media Group. So however much money you think that ad revenue pays out, let me tell you,
I'm like,
it is not enough for 3 people to survive.
we're not like Jenna Marbles,
Yeah,
who's a solo crew as far as I can tell, and has a bajillions of
her
of
boyfriend
views.
helps her, I think. And then her boyfriend's channel is like as big as Linus Tech Tips.
They're not.
Yeah. They're not what?
They're not together anymore.
Oh, okay, well, whatever. I couldn't care less about Jenna Marbles, to be perfectly honest. Do you really follow Jenna Marbles?
I watch her every once in a while.
Really?
These are pretty funny.
Some of them are
Some
just,
of them are pretty funny.
a lot
Some
of
of them
the
are
time,
like, oh.
she goes just kind of crude for the sake of being crude.
I think that's her though.
Yeah.
You're pretty crude.
Yeah, not unnecessarily.
Sometimes.
On YouTube.
Sometimes.
Okay, that's not the conversation we're having in the after party. But I would say she goes like too crude just for shock value a lot of the time.
Sometimes.
And I don't
But she
find
also
that funny.
does like skit videos,
Okay, yes.
which it makes more sense in skit videos.
Okay,
I
true.
definitely see where you're coming from, but yeah.
Like, I have a professional demeanor to maintain, so obviously I'm not gonna say... Alright, live stream's over.
You have a professional demeanor to maintain.